In this movie, we're going to create the red star at the bottom of the graphic. And by the way, I'm currently looking at the finished version of the drawing, bigstargraphic.ai. And that red star is exactly the same size, although it's a slightly different orientation, than the inset white star at the top of the graphic. But what we want to do is we want to exactly align that star so that it is centered on those anchor points at the bottom of the ellipse. And that's tricky because while you can align one shape to another quite easily in Illustrator, and you can align a bunch of anchor points to each other if you so desire, you can't align a full shape with an anchor point. That doesn't work. So we're going to have to figure out a different approach. I'm going to switch over to this file that I'm calling greatwhitestar.ai. And armed with the black arrow tool, I'll go ahead and click on that inset star to select it, and then I'll go up to the edit menu, and I'll choose the copy command, or press Control-C or Command-C on the Mac. Now I'm going to scroll down my graphic, just using the scroll bar and the scroll wheel on my mouse, because that's the easiest way to work here. And I'll go up to the edit menu, and rather than choosing paste in front or paste in back or paste in place, any of those commands, which aligns the pasted artwork with its previous position, I'm just going to go ahead and choose the paste command, the standard paste command, or press Control-V or Command-V on the Mac. And that will paste the star essentially in the center of the screen. Now I'm going to move it off to the side because it really doesn't matter where it appears initially. I need to align it to these bottom points right there. And the easiest way to do that is to give the star its own center point, which is something that you can do inside Illustrator, but it's a little hard to find. It's a hidden function. You get to the center point option by going up to the window menu and choosing the attributes command. And that brings up this tiny little panel. By default, it just shows off a couple of overprint checkboxes. What you want to do is click on this up-down arrow icon right next to the word attributes, and that will expand the panel so that you can gain access to its other options. And you notice right here, these first two icons allow you to either show the center or don't show the center. We want the center, so go ahead and turn on that center point. And we get the exact center of the star. Now, you don't always get the exact center of the star. I want to stress something here. Let's say I was to grab the star tool again, and I'll just go ahead and draw a star, press the space bar to move it to a different location here. That works with all the line and shape tools, of course. Press the down arrow key a few times until we get our friend the 5-pointed star, and press and hold the Shift and Alt keys or the Shift and Option keys in the Mac in order to get the American star. All right, then I'll go ahead and release. Now, if I were to add a center point, notice that that is not the exact center of the shape. It's weighted far closer to the top than it ought to be. The center of the star is right about there, if we were to calculate it exactly. What's happening here is Illustrator is showing us the center of the bounding box that contains the star. So if you were to draw a square around this star shape, that would be the center of the square. I just want to make that clear, because sometimes the center point works the way you want it to, sometimes it does not. When you're working with a star that has an odd number of points, like an American star, then you're not going to get a true center point. So I'll go ahead and press the backspace key or the delete key on the Mac. However, when you're working with a star with an even number of points like this one here, then you will get an exact center point. All right, I'm going to press the V key in order to switch back to the black arrow tool. And I'll go ahead and click on the star to select it. And notice there's our center point. And now I have only to go ahead and drag this center point and drop it at the bottom of the ellipses. And I want to see a white arrowhead. Notice the difference here. Here's the black arrowhead, which means I'm just dragging along. And as soon as I see the white arrowhead, it means that I have a snap of some sort going. And that works whether you have Smart Guides turned on or off. Now, I'm going to drag the star back for a moment because I want to show you. I happen to have Smart Guides turned off at the moment. If I turn them back on by going up to the View menu and choosing Smart Guides, and then drag from the center point, you can see that I'll actually see an intersect line there as well as the white arrowhead. So I have additional information available to me. But in any case, I get that star centered exactly. All right, now I want to rotate the star exactly so many degrees so that it matches the angle of the red star in the background. Well, here's how I figured out the angle of rotation. And this is going to make perfect sense to some of you, and others might end up scratching your heads. I'm going to go ahead and hide the attributes panel so it's not in our way. But the star has what's known as a periodicity associated with it. And that's a big fancy word for the distance between each one of these points. So the angle between each one of these points. So you imagine 360 degrees describes the entire route, angle-wise, around the star, around a circle, for example, that contains the star. If we were going from one point to another point, that would be 45 degrees because it's from here, measuring from here. We go 45 degrees, then we go 90 degrees, then we go 90 plus 45, which is 135, and then we get to 180 degrees, and then we start doing some additional adding to get all the way back around to 360 degrees. So from here to here is 45 degrees. I want to rotate the star exactly half that distance. And I don't want to have to do the math. I already did enough math so far to figure out that it's 45 degrees divided by 2. So what you do is with the star selected, you go ahead and click on the word transform up here in the control panel. That brings up this pop-up panel, of course. Make sure to select the center point inside the reference point matrix right there. It happens to be selected for me. And then you want to enter an angle value. Notice this rotate option right here. You want to change that angle value to 45 divided by 2. So 45/2, and then press the enter key or the return key on the Mac, and you're going to exactly split the difference and rotate that guy halfway around, just like it ought to be. Then I want you to go up to the control panel, click on the color swatch up there, the first color swatch, and change it from white to red. And we have got the exactly aligned star we're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and click off the star to deselect it. So remember, if you want to add a center point, which is going to be exactly accurate for any symmetrical shape, by the way, which includes a polygon or a star with an even number of sides or points, then you want to go ahead and add that center point from the attributes panel here inside Illustrator.